Let's face it, we could all use a laugh right now, so let's all escape for a bit into hilarity. Here's our list of 10 of the funniest series and movies you might not have checked out. Heck, you might not even heard of some of them. Without further ado, here's our list of the 10 best streaming series and movies.
This is Kickin' and Streamin' Podcast.
Party Down, 2009 to 2010, streaming on Hulu. Produced by Rob Thomas of Veronica Mars and iZombie fame, Party Down is a fantastic comic ensemble, including Lizzie Kaplan and Adam Scott. Only 20 episodes, it follows a group of actors who move to Los Angeles to make it big, but end up working as caterers. An episodic format follows the actors/servers to different fancy events each week, which turns out to be a perfect sitcom scheme, as it pits our heroes against a wide range of Hollywood phonies. Oh, and there are some hilarious cameos in this one. Catastrophe, 2015 to 2019, streaming on Amazon Prime Video. An American ad man and an Irish schoolteacher have a fling, and that leads to an unplanned pregnancy. This British sitcom is obviously funny, or it wouldn't be on the list, but it's also frank about sex, child rearing, and relationships, totally unafraid to push its central couple to their breaking point. But what really makes it so involving is that the lead characters are beautifully written and masterfully played by Sharon Horgan and Rob Delaney. This is a hilarious gem of a show with a heart. Better Off Ted, 2009, streaming on Hulu. This one was canceled too soon. Overlooked during its 2 abbreviated seasons on ABC, this cheeky corporate satire follows the everyday adventures of an upbeat executive who always strives to put a positive spin on his company's many bizarre world domination schemes. The show illustrates how office politics and big business control the way we behave, and it gently spoofs how we talk about everything from race to romance in the 2000s. Each Better Off Ted episode functions as a sparkling and highly rewatchable farce. Little Monsters, 2019, Hulu. Meet Dave, a foul-mouthed and down-on-his-luck rock musician living with his sister and nephew after a rough breakup. Attempting to get on the good side of his nephew's hot kindergarten teacher, Dave agrees to come along and chaperone the class field trip to a petting zoo. Unfortunately for them, the petting zoo is right next to a U.S. Army base that happens to be experiencing a zombie outbreak. As the class finds itself cornered by the undead horde, Dave will have to help make sure everyone gets out alive. This one has been described as having cuteness overload, which is a great setup for this comedy horror oddity. Starring Lupita Nyong'o, Alexander England, and Josh Gad. Space Force, 2020 to 2022, streaming on Netflix. Steve Carell brings his particular brand of comedy to the table, and this Netflix original dramedy is one of the best examples. Here he plays General Mark Nard, and the show follows the workplace misadventures of the United States Space Force, the 6th branch of the United States Armed Forces. The series is full of thinly veiled satire, a ton of ridiculous situations, and lots of plain old fun. We actually dedicated an episode of our podcast to this one, so please visit our website, kickinandstreaminpodcast.com, to learn more. The Kaminsky Method, 2018 to 2021, streaming on Netflix. Most people who have watched Chuck Lorre's shows tend to expect a certain kind of story from the producer. However, the Kaminsky Method breaks all those expectations into tiny pieces and then proceeds to stomp all over them. It's a genuinely beautiful show with the perfect balance of tragic circumstances and biting humor. Sandy Kaminsky, played by Michael Douglas, is an aging actor who once had a very promising career that never came to fruition. But, as is said, those who can't do teach. So Sandy is the best acting coach in the business. The show follows his various misadventures as he deals with life, love, and death. Honestly, the best part of the series is the chemistry between Sandy and his best friend/agent Norman Newlander, who is played by none other than Alan Arkin. The other main characters are also lovely. This is also one we dedicated a podcast to. Imposters, 2017 to 2018, streaming on Netflix. This black comedy series follows con artist Maddie, who of course is as beautiful as she is dangerous. Over the years, she has left a trail of victims who become tormented upon realizing that they have been used and robbed of everything, including their hearts. Complicating Maddie's work are 3 former targets, Ezra, Richard, and Jules, who realize they have been scammed by the same woman and team up to track her down. And of course, we get some personal growth along the way. Consider this a wacky gender swap retelling of the Tinder swindler, except it's all made up and nobody actually gets hurt. Future Man, 2017 to 2020, streaming on Hulu. This show somehow made time travel, sci-fi, and geek culture funny and all without pandering. Janitor Josh is leading an aimless life but excelling at his favorite video game when main characters Tiger and Wolf suddenly appear and tell him that the video game was all a test, and they have been sent back in time to try and locate the one person capable of saving the world. Can the hardened future warriors shape the shiftless Josh into the hero the future needs? Or will the banality of his life drag them all into mediocrity? Always Be My Maybe, 2019. An innocent, fun movie, Always Be My Maybe is a lovely thing to turn your brain off to. Sasha and Marcus are high school best friends who dated briefly and then went their separate ways. 16 years later, they meet again. Sasha is a famous chef, and Marcus is still living with his dad. But what really makes this movie is the writing from Ali Wong and Randall Park, who also play the 2 leads. The dialogue is sharp, it's believable and smart, the characters are fresh, the jokes are fresh, everything is just fresh. There's also a mind-blowing cameo from the Keanu Reeves that is fabulous and totally unexpected. Brockmire, 2017 to 2020, now streaming on Hulu. Hank Azaria and Amanda Peet co-star in Brockmire, a half-hour comedy series that began years ago as a viral short video on the Funny or Die website. Remember those guys? The series centers on the fall of Jim Brockmire, a once famed Major League Baseball announcer who suffers an embarrassing on-air meltdown, which leads to a decade away from the booth. Older and possibly wiser, Brockmire attempts to reclaim his career and his life by returning behind the mic. But the setting, a broken rural town home of the very minor league Frackers, is not quite what he had hoped. Hilarity ensues with the local townsfolk. There's 4 seasons of this one, so you've got a bit to sink your teeth into. The Boondocks, 2005 to 2014, now streaming on HBO Max. Jesus was black, Ronald Reagan was the devil, and the government is lying about 9/11. If these opening lines pique your interest, then we have the show for you. Beginning life as a cartoon strip, The Boondocks follows cantankerous Robert Grandad Freeman, the legal guardian of his grandsons, 10-year-old revolutionary Huey and 8-year-old Riley, a product of contemporary rap culture. After moving the family from Chicago's South Side to the safety of the suburban Woodcrest, aka the Boondocks, Granddad hopes to ignore the grandkids and just enjoy his golden years in peace. But the kids have different plans, torturing each other and provoking others in the neighborhood. Achieving fantastic critical acclaim, winning a prestigious Peabody Award, critics describe it as a sharp, satirical look at American society. We call it great TV. All right, everyone, that is our top 10 list for the funniest things currently available streaming. Do we miss any of yours? Don't see one of your favorites? Go ahead and share it in the comments section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that bell.